Hey everyone, welcome to That's Good Denver. I'm your host, Chris Romeo, and today I'll be resuming the series of where I do each NFL division, and today I'll be doing the AFC East, the Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots division. And before we get hopping started, I'm gonna speculate between each team's ceiling and each team's floor of how high I think each team this division could do and how low I think team this division could do. Go over their schedule and predict at the end how their actual record of how I think they will pan out. Um, with that being said, let's get started. So, in the AFC East, starting off, you got the Buffalo Bills. So, the Bills, they're the Super Bowl favorites for this upcoming season. Um, unlike, they're everybody's Super Bowl favorites. They made it to the AFC divisional round last year, had a solid regular season 11-6, made a divisional round. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they could have won that game. I mean, the Chiefs and Bills divisional round was probably the best game of the playoffs, back and forth, and the Bills had 13 seconds to hold the Chiefs at the end, but then the Chiefs were able to get down the field in two passing plays and get them to field goal range. Then the Chiefs won it in overtime. Heartbreaking season for the Bills season end like that. I had the Bills winning the Super Bowl last year. Um, I might honestly have the Bills winning the Super Bowl again this year. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I mean, they're definitely the favorites to win this division. I think. I mean, no spoiler, but the Bills will probably win this division. And be competing for number one seed in the AFC and be competing for a Super Bowl title, if not this year, very very soon. Um, and they could definitely win it this year. They got Josh Allen at their quarterback. He's one of the best in the league right now. Stephon Diggs. They got Devin Singletary, and then their defense got beefed up. They had Von Miller, and which is going to be huge, which is a huge steal for the Rams. That's going to be huge for their defense too. I was hoping he'd come back to the Broncos, but the Bills got Von Miller. Um, and they got White, who's a good defender, and they had the number one defense last year, I'm pretty sure. And their defense is even going to be better this year. Their offense should be better. Josh Allen's coming in his fourth season. So yeah, the Bills ceiling, I have their ceiling being, this is going to sound a little crazy, but I have their ceiling being 15-2. I could see them losing only two games. I think the Bills are the best team in the league right now. Definitely the Super Bowl favorites, and there's just a lot of games on their schedule. They have tough games, don't get me wrong, but the Bills are going to be favored in a lot of those games. They're just the best all-around team, I think. Their floor, I don't see their floor being any lower than 11-6, just like it was last year. And 11-6, quite honestly, might win them this division, depending on how well the Dolphins and Patriots do. But yeah, 11-6 would be their bottom floor. I see the Bills. Then next up, you got a team that's kind of the complete opposite, the New York Jets. So the Jets. Oh, I always do this, but before I go in the Jets, I'm gonna go over the Bills' tough games. So they have opening night against the Rams to start off the season, defending champs. That's tough. They got the Titans, the Dolphins, and Patriots might be tough twice. They got the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Vikings, the Browns, um, the Bengals in a showdown. So they definitely got some tough games on the schedule, but doesn't mean they can't win a lot of those games. I think they will win a lot of those games. Then next up, you got the New York Jets. Um, so so the Jets, they're still one of the worst teams in football. I mean, they drafted well this year in the draft, and they got some other pieces, but I don't think Zach Wilson is the answer necessarily. I mean, I know he's only in a sophomore season, but yeah, I mean, there's not much more talent around the field. I mean, they got Michael Carter, who's a really good running back, I think, at least in fantasy, and he's a good running back. And yeah, they're just kind of like the Texans, not as bad as the Texans, I don't think, but just not very good. I have their ceiling only being 5-12. That's if Zach Wilson's not that bad, and he takes the next step in his sophomore year. Their floor, though, I have their floor. This is gonna sound crazy too, but I have their floor being 2-15. I could see them only winning 2 games. I mean, in a lot of their games, they're gonna be. They have tough games too, but in a lot of their games, they're gonna be the underdogs. Clearly, um, looking at their tough games, they have the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals. Their whole division is gonna be tough for them. Patriots, Dolphins, Bills. They got the Packers, the Broncos. Um, then the Vikings, and yeah, so it's definitely going to be a pretty tough schedule for the Jets. Then next up, you got the Miami Dolphins. So the Dolphins had a roller coaster of a season last year. They started off poorly at 1-7, then they went on a 7-game winning streak to prove to 8-7. Then they lost a game to the Titans that knocked them out of playoff contention. I think they finished 9-8 last year, sweeping the Patriots, which is nice. Their defense was really good, caused a lot of turnovers. Then, they got some other good pieces out there on offense. Like, they got a couple good running backs. They got Mike Gesicki, a good tight end. And they got, other good receivers like Jalen Waddle. And then adding Tyreek Hill this offseason is going to be huge for them. Let's just see if I think a lot of it's going to come down to whether Tua Tagovailoa is the answer for them at quarterback, whether Tua can get Tyreek Hill the ball enough and Jalen Waddle the ball enough. I think he will to a certain extent. Tua will, but the question is how consistent can he be? He's shown a lot of question marks in the past, but he's also had some good games. Don't get me wrong, but there's still some question marks with Tua Tagovailoa, and he needs to get better in a lot of ways. The Dolphins' ceiling, I have their ceiling being about 11-6. That definitely could put them in the playoffs. I mean, it probably would. Um, that's if Tua, keeps improving, and Tyreek Hill has a big season with that offense, and their defense, continues to be pretty solid and cause a lot of turnovers like they usually do. Their floor, though, I don't have their floor being that bad. This would be 8-9 for them, their floor. That's if, Tua is the same it's the same as last year and even gets worse, which could be a possibility. Because there's just a lot of question marks, and he's not able to get the ball to Tyreek Hill a lot. But I don't really see that happening, and yeah, it just a lot of it depends on Tua Tagovailoa because they have the Dolphins have a lot of other good pieces on their team, a lot of them. Then next up you got the New England. Oh, before that, I'll go over some of the Dolphins' tough games. So the Dolphins, they have the Patriots twice, the Bills twice, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Vikings, the Browns, the 49ers, and the Chargers. So, yeah, definitely some tough games sprinkled in there as well for the Dolphins. Then lastly, you got the New England Patriots. So the Patriots, they had a good season last year, bouncing back from not making the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. The previous year, going 6-10 with Cam Newton. Then they found their guy Mac Jones, and I think Mac Jones has a bright future with the Patriots, and he's gonna do really well with them for years to come, under Bill Belichick, depending on how long Bill Belichick stays, but. There's been a lot out there that the Patriots just haven't drafted well, and they haven't had a good offseason. They lost J.C. Jackson, who was a really good corner for them on defense. He's helped a lot. And they have some decent players around Mac Jones and stuff, but Mac Jones doesn't really have that many weapons at the same time. So yeah, I just don't. There's some uncertainty with the Patriots right now. I mean, Mac Jones will do well, but a lot of people are having a lot of question marks in the whole Patriots right now. The Patriots ceiling, I have their ceiling being about 10-7. they definitely could make a push for the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, and like 10-7 would be borderline playoffs or not in the AFC, a loaded AFC. Their floor though, I have their floor being 6-11. This is if you know, uh, everybody's right about the question marks with the Patriots and like um the wide receivers around them. Like Mac Jones really does need a lot of help and stuff. They just don't end up having a good season. Um, Looking at the Patriots' tough games, they got the Dolphins, the Bills twice. The Steelers might be tough. The Ravens will be tough. They got the Packers, the Browns, the Colts, the Vikings, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Bengals. So yeah, definitely some tough games for them, and they might be on the outside looking in some of those tough games. Um, but after speculating the ceiling and floor between those teams, now this is what I actually predicted for the teams in the AFC East. Um, so I have the Bills winning the division, of course, at 13-4. I think they'll be competing for a number one seed. 13-4 might get them the number one seed, but you know, I think they'll be competing for a Super Bowl too, if they get it or not, the one seed. Then I have the Dolphins going 10-7. I think it's going to be a pretty good year for the Dolphins. Adding Tyreek Hill will help a lot. Their defense will still cause turnovers and be really good on defense. And they got other pieces and stuff. I think Tua Tagovailoa is young and he needs time to get comfortable with that Dolphins offense. Um, you know, I don't think this is necessarily a make or break season for Tua Tagovailoa. He just needs to keep improving, keep going in the right direction. And I think eventually, if they keep him around, they use him properly, he's gonna end up being a possibly a pretty good quarterback. And 10-7 for the Dolphins, that'll be borderline on whether they make it to the playoffs or not. Then I have the Patriots going 7-10. Here's why. They just they haven't even paid Mac Jones. I forgot to say that, but they haven't paid Mac Jones much yet. And they don't have much. I don't think they have that many good receivers right now. To be honest, I mean they're all young receivers and that could develop, but they also lost one of their good receivers the other day to the Bears. So, and they don't really. They have a pretty good defense, but yeah, I just don't. I just see this kind of being a down year for the Patriots, and then maybe that'll help Bill Belichick realize that he needs more weapons on offense around Mac Jones, and you know, because as of right now, there's just a lot of no names around Mac Jones right now. Um, but yeah, the Patriots could prove me or prove me wrong with Bill Belichick and Mac Jones, but I just don't see it being their year. Then you got the Jets at 3-14. It shouldn't be much of a surprise here. That might be a little low for the Jets because they did draft well, but I just don't think Zach Wilson's the answer. I think Michael Carter is a pretty good running back, but they just need more of a supporting cast around them, and they'll be competing for another high draft pick this upcoming season. Um, and then to go over who I have the Bills winning. I have them dropping to the Rams opening night, then winning 4 in a row against good teams, and until they lose to the Bills. Then they go on a 5-game winning streak until they get upset to the Patriots. Um, then they win 4 more in a row until they lose a garbage game against the Patriots to end the season. Actually, I have the Patriots sweeping the Bills, but one of the reasons is because Patriots and Bills game at the end, the Bills will already have the number one seed locked up, so they're gonna rest their starters, and Patriots will get you know a win against the Bills backups. Then the Dolphins going 10-7. I have them starting 2-0, beating the Ravens on the road, surprisingly. Then dropping 2 tough games in a row till they win 3 in a row. Then after winning some tough games, I have them losing to the Lions and the Bears on the road. I don't think the Lions will be that bad this year, and I don't think the Bears might be as bad as some people are saying, but they might not have a great season, and I think Justin Fields, you know, could be the answer for the Bears. I don't think he's a bad quarterback at all. This a lot of people are saying this is a make or break season for Justin Fields. But yeah, two straight upsets there. Then have Dolphins winning two in a row till they drop one of the 49ers. Beating the Chargers on the road. Then they lose to the Bills. Beating the Packers on Christmas. Losing to the Patriots. And then beating the Jets at home. I have the Patriots and Dolphins splitting. So, like, yeah, they win enough games to get to 10 wins and might be a borderline playoff spot, but will that be enough to make it to the playoffs? We'll have to see. Um, then the Patriots. Yeah, I have them dropping their first 4 games of the season. Um, and then they beat the Lions at home, lose to the Browns, they beat the Bears, lose to the Jets on the road. They go 2-7 after losing to the Colts. Then they go on a win streak. They upset the Vikings on the road, upset the Bills.